Welcome to the Privacy Report. It feels like every week there's some new kind of scary software trying to get into our systems. It's kind of relentless.
It really is. And that's why today we're trying to get a handle on this shifting threat landscape.
Yeah.
We're looking at malware, specifically the types, actively targeting systems now. And look, understanding how they work, how they've changed. That's really your first line of defense.
Right.
And while, Windows gets hit a lot, these ideas, they apply everywhere. No system is totally immune.
Absolutely. The aim here is, well, clarity. Actionable knowledge, not just fear.
Yeah.
And hey, if you want more context, more info on what we talk about, you can always subscribe to the email newsletter. That's over at theprivacyreport.net. Okay, so let's pin down the main term first. Malware. It's kind of an umbrella term, isn't it?
It totally is.
Yeah.
Simply put, malware is just any code written with bad intentions, designed to harm your computer, steal stuff, exploit it, whatever. But how they do it and what they're after, that varies wildly. And that means, well, our defenses have to vary too.
Okay, let's start with maybe the OG threat, the computer virus. People compare it to a biological virus. Does that analogy still work?
Yeah, it holds up surprisingly well, actually. A classic virus, it can't really survive on its own. It needs to latch onto something legitimate, like a program or a document, and it only spreads when you run that infected file or share it. It basically needs you, the user, to help it move around.
Right, it needs that interaction.
Yeah.
And even though modern antivirus is pretty good at catching these, if one slips through, well, it still causes damage, right? Data corruption, slowing things down.
Oh, absolutely. They can still mess things up badly. Data loss, system functions disabled. But, modern AV does do real-time scanning, quarantining. It helps a lot. But the thing is, while viruses are understood, the bigger challenges now often come from things that spread differently or are just better at tricking us.
Speaking of tricking, that leads us right into Trojans, doesn't it? The deceivers.
Exactly. The Trojan horse. Named perfectly. It pretends to be something harmless, something useful, maybe a cool app or an update. It tricks you into installing it. And here's the key difference from a virus. A Trojan doesn't copy itself. It doesn't self-replicate.
Ah, okay, so it doesn't spread on its own. Its job is different.
Its job is usually to open the door. It's the delivery mechanism. Think of it like smuggling contraband. The Trojan gets past your defenses by looking innocent, but once inside, it can download other malware, maybe ransomware or spyware, or it could just create a backdoor for an attacker to sneak in later. It relies entirely on that initial deception.
So if a virus needs a host file and a Trojan needs to trick the user, then we have worms. They sound, well, more independent.
They are. That's the defining thing about a worm. It spreads automatically. It doesn't need to attach to a file, and it doesn't need you to click anything after the initial infection. It finds ways to copy itself across networks.
How does it manage that? Just jumps from machine to machine.
Pretty much. Worms are really good at exploiting vulnerabilities. Think unpatched software, security holes in the operating system or other applications. They scan the network, find another vulnerable machine, copy themselves over, and repeat. This can happen incredibly fast.
Wow. So they can swamp a network pretty quickly then, consuming bandwidth, maybe delivering some other nasty payload.
Exactly. That rapid self-replication is their signature, and it hammers home a crucial defense point. Keep your software updated, all of it, your OS, your browser, everything. Patching those security holes is the #1 way to stop network worms in their tracks. You close the door they're trying to walk through.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about malware, where the main goal seems to be, well, money. And top of that list right now has to be ransomware. It's like digital kidnapping.
It really is the dominant threat financially, no question. Ransomware, at its core, takes your data hostage, it encrypts your files, sometimes your whole system, and then it demands money, usually crypto, to give you the decryption key back. But it's gotten more complicated than just that.
More complicated how? I've heard terms like double extortion thrown around with big attacks, like WannaCry back then, or maybe the more recent Lockbit group stuff.
Yeah, double extortion is, well, it's a nasty evolution. Here's how it works. Before they encrypt your files, the attackers steal a copy of your sensitive data. They pull it off your network first.
Oh, wow.
Right? Then they deploy the ransomware to lock everything up. So now they have 2 ways to pressure you. Pay up to get your files back, and pay up again so they don't leak your stolen data online on the dark web.
That's intense pressure. So just stopping the encryption isn't enough anymore.
Not always, no, which makes the defense strategy even more critical. Look, the absolute best defense against ransomware isn't some magic software. It's backups, good, regular backups.
Backups you can actually restore from, presumably.
Yes, verified backups. And crucially, they need to be kept separate, either offline, physically disconnected, or in a secure cloud service that ransomware can't easily reach. If they lock your main system, you wipe it, restore from your clean backup, and you don't have to pay them anything. Combine that with being super careful about email attachments and downloads, and you mitigate a huge chunk of the risk.
Okay, so that's the direct extortion.
Right.
What about the sneakier stuff, like spyware and adware? Sometimes they seem similar, but they're different beasts, right?
They are, though the line can get blurry. Let's start with spyware. That's the really insidious one. Its whole purpose is to secretly watch what you do. It might log your keystrokes, track your web browsing, steal your passwords, your bank logins, often bundled with free software you downloaded, or snuck in through a browser flaw. The goal is often identity theft or gathering intel for later attacks.
Nasty. And adware. Historically, that was just annoying pop-ups, wasn't it? Slowing down your browser.
Traditionally, yes. Adware's main goal was just to bombard you with ads, maybe redirect your searches, basically generate ad revenue for its creators. Annoying, performance draining, but maybe not directly stealing your identity. But here's where it gets blurry. A lot of modern adware is super aggressive about collecting data about you without clear consent. Your browsing habits, your location, your IP address.
So it starts to cross over into surveillance.
Exactly. When it harvests that kind of personal info for targeted marketing, or maybe even sells it, then it's really acting like a form of spyware. If you're suddenly drowning in pop-ups or your browser's acting weird, that's a big red flag for either type.
So good security software and maybe some browser hygiene tools are key there.
Definitely. Reputable security suites often tackle both.
Okay, we've talked about the stuff you might see, the effects of encryption, ads, slowdowns. Now let's get into the really hidden threats, starting with rootkits. These sound like they operate deep down.
They absolutely do. Think of a rootkit as the ultimate infiltrator. It burrows deep into the operating system, sometimes even into the core, the kernel. Its primary job is stealth. It modifies the OS itself to hide its own presence, and often to hide other malware that the attacker has installed alongside it. It basically gives the attacker hidden admin-level control or root access.
If it's modifying the OS itself, detecting that must be incredibly difficult, right? How would normal security software even see it if the OS is lying to it?
That's the challenge. It is incredibly difficult. Standard tools running inside the compromised OS often can't be trusted to see the rootkit. It's like asking a prisoner to guard himself. Detection often requires specialized tools that can scan the system from the outside, maybe before the main OS even boots up. And honestly, removing a deep rootkit, sometimes the only guaranteed fix is to wipe the entire system and reinstall everything from scratch.
Wow. And how do these things typically get in?
Often through things like infected hardware drivers, or sometimes they're dropped onto the system by a Trojan that managed to get through first.
Okay, that's deep system compromise. But then there's this other category, fileless malware. The name itself sounds designed to evade detection. No file means nothing to scan.
That's precisely the idea behind it. Traditional antivirus for a long time focused heavily on scanning files stored on your hard drive, looking for known malicious code signatures in those files. Fileless malware bypasses that completely by, well, not writing traditional files to the disk. It operates almost entirely in the computer's active memory, the RAM.
How does it actually do anything then? Or stick around? Memory gets wiped when you reboot, doesn't it?
Good questions. It executes by hijacking legitimate tools that are already on your system, things that the operating system trusts implicitly. For example, it might use PowerShell, that's a very powerful command line and scripting tool built into Windows. Or it might use something called WMI, Windows Management Instrumentation, another legitimate system administration feature. The malware exists just as scripts or commands running within these trusted processes and memory. And yes, while RAM is volatile, they often find clever ways to gain persistence, maybe by making small changes to the system registry or scheduling tasks that relaunch the memory resident code after a reboot.
So wait, it's using the computer's own tools against it, tools that security software probably trusts.
Exactly. That's the tactical genius from the attacker's perspective. It blends in with normal system activity, no suspicious file to flag. It just looks like legitimate processes doing, well, maybe slightly unusual things.
That makes detection incredibly hard then. You can't just look for bad files.
Right. This is why modern security solutions have had to evolve. They need to look beyond just files. They need to analyze behavior, monitor what processes are doing in memory, look for anomalies in how these legitimate tools are being used. It's a much more complex detection challenge.
Okay, we've gone from simple viruses hiding in files to these memory ghosts using trusted tools. It's quite a spectrum. So bringing it all together, What does this mean for protecting ourselves? How do we build a defense strategy against all of this?
It really comes down to a layered approach, focusing on both the technical side and, just as importantly, our own behavior. Technically, we need defenses that directly counter the methods we've discussed. So number one, keep everything updated. Your Windows OS, your browser, your applications. Patching those vulnerabilities shuts down the main entry point for worms and many exploit-based attacks. It's non-negotiable.
Makes sense. Patch the holes. What's next?
Number two, use a good, reputable security suite. And make sure it's not just basic antivirus. Look for features like behavioral monitoring, memory scanning, maybe even ransomware protection features, something multi-layered that can spot suspicious activity, not just known bad files.
Right, something that can maybe catch those fileless attacks by watching what they do. And number three,
Backups. We mentioned it for ransomware, but it's crucial overall. Regular, verified backups, kept offline or in a secure cloud location. That's your safety net if everything else fails, especially against ransomware's double extortion tactics. These three cover the system's security mechanics.
okay, updates, modern security software, backups. Got it.
But you mentioned behavior.
The human element is still often the weakest link, isn't it?
Always. You can have the best tech defenses in the world, but if you click on a malicious link or download a dodgy file, you might just invite the malware straight in. So the human firewall needs strengthening too.
So what are the key layers for that human firewall?
I'd say three main things. First, extreme caution with links and attachments, especially in email or messages. If you weren't expecting it, if it looks even slightly suspicious, just don't click. Verify first if you can. Second, only download software from official, trusted sources. Avoid those random download sites, third-party app stores, cracked software. That's a primary way Trojans get distributed.
Be skeptical of clicks and downloads. What's the third layer?
Minimize privileges and use strong authentication. Don't run your computer as an administrator for everyday tasks if you can avoid it. Use a standard user account. This makes it much harder for malware to get deep system access, like rootkits want. And absolutely enable two-factor authentication 2FA everywhere you can, on your email, banking, social media.
So even if spyware does steal your password somehow.
Exactly. That second factor, usually a code sent to your phone, stops the attacker from logging in even with your password. It's a huge security boost. Ultimately, awareness and developing these safe habits are maybe the most powerful defense. They stop the initial infection, preventing a small mistake from becoming a major breach.
Yeah, that shift from just reacting to proactively preventing seems key, given how sophisticated these threats are getting.
It really is. Thinking ahead is crucial. #outro.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. For you, personally, listening right now, based on how you use your computer, what kind of data you handle, which specific type of malware we talked about today feels like the most immediate, the most significant threat to you? Is it that fileless attack hiding in memory? Is it ransomware holding your precious files hostage? And once you've considered that, what's one single proactive step, maybe something we discussed, that you can take today to start mitigating that specific risk? Just one thing to make yourself a little bit safer.
That's a great exercise. And thank you all for tuning in today. We really hope this breakdown helps you strengthen your defenses.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Please do like and subscribe to the Privacy Report on whatever platform you use. It helps others find the show and ensures you won't miss our next discussion. And finally, a quick disclaimer. This discussion was produced with the assistance of AI.